I think first like to know, get a feel of the room. So how many of us are entrepreneurs? Raise your hands. How many of you are entrepreneurs? Okay. Anil, yeah, please raise. CAs also entrepreneurs. Yes, all of you are entrepreneurs, and some of you are entrepreneurs with one client. That is, you're working in an organization, but I'm saying even you can consider yourself an entrepreneur, right, in a large organization. And I'll soon tell you how. Right, so all of us are entrepreneurs in that sense. Raise your hand again. Okay, super. Okay, so now as entrepreneurs, we all admire business leaders, right? Elon Musk, Mukesh Ambani, all of these leaders we admire. And we kind of say, okay, fine, you know what, we want to become like them, right? We envy them, we want to become like them. Is that the feeling? Often we kind of... So I've been observing a lot of entrepreneurs. What are they saying? What is their message, and so on. So let me share a few quotes from people, right? For example, Warren Buffett says about risk, minimize risk, slow and steady wins the race. Okay. But then Richard Branson says, take big risks, go all in. Now, whom should I follow? A little confusing, isn't it? Right? Or for instance, Oprah Winfrey says, be a star and tell your story. But then Mark Zuckerberg says, let the product shine, not you. Again, very confusing, right? This guy. Or for instance, Jack Welch says, it's all about people. But then Lakshmi Mittal says, it's all about your numbers. I'm totally confused now, right? So let me give you another example. So let's think about Steve Jobs, right, and Michael Dell. Both highly successful entrepreneurs, Apple and Dell. But think about it. Steve Jobs could not have created Dell. Michael Dell could not have created Apple. You see, the organizations that they have created are a direct reflection of what is it that they deeply value, what is it that they believe in, and the organization is a reflection or a manifestation of those deep principles, values, beliefs that they have, right? So I call them entrepreneurial instincts. So what we need to realize is that instead of trying to become like them, we need to learn from them and be the best version of ourselves. So what are your entrepreneurial instincts? And can you align your business to yourself? So it's not about becoming like someone else. It's about uncovering yourself, discovering yourself, and saying, can I align the business to myself? So let me take an example over here. So one entrepreneur, his name is Kiran. So around a year and a half back, he came to me, and he's into home appliances. Okay, so refrigerators, home theaters, all of those kind of things. He had 3 stores, but he was running heavy losses. Okay. So I did a session that I do to discover that entrepreneurial instinct. So I did that. It takes an hour's time to discover a very key instinct, which is how do I naturally give value to others? I call it the golden vibe. So when I did that exercise, it turned out that in a natural way, his instinct is to give the right advice. That's what he keeps doing, right? So I had a hunch. So I said, Kiran, you just take an inventory of all the people who bought something from you, right? Tell me how many of them even visited your retail outlets. So he did that. He came back a week later, and he himself was surprised. He said 80% of them have not even stepped into my retail outlets. Okay. So I said, Kiran, okay, give some examples, right? So he said, the old couple will call me up and say that we just don't understand gadgets. Kiran, you tell me what to buy, I'll buy that. Okay. Or an interior designer will call him up and say, I've done this lovely interiors. I want matching appliances. You take care of that headache. Okay, so I told Kiran, you're in the advice business. You're not in the, what are you doing? You're not in the retail business. So what are you doing with all these expensive shops, teams, and so on and so forth, right? Just close it. So he didn't have an option. He was, hugely into losses. So he closed the shops. 1 year later, a few months back, he came to one of my workshops. And the first question I asked him, are you in green now? He had a big smile. Yes, I'm in green now. I'm making profits. And how many deals are you closing in a week? So he says, 3 deals a week I'm closing. And how many were you closing when you had the retail shops? He says, a few months with 0 sales, right? He doesn't have a team, he doesn't have a shop, and still he's closing 3 deals a week, okay? So that's a good example of aligning the business to your natural strengths, entrepreneurial instincts, okay? So what is a business? So the way I define a business is, there are 3 key things that need to come into place, okay? What are those? So let me just share it over here. So the first thing that needs to come into place is passion, okay? So what is passion? So passion is when you do that activity or do that cause, or you're kind of doing something related to what is, it's a feeling. And the feeling is, I come alive when I do that, okay? When I'm associated with that. I'm driven to that and I just come alive. So that is your passion. The next thing is skill, okay? So skill is that I'm trying to draw a double helix, okay, DNA. So skill is that you are good at that activity compared to anyone else around you. So if you're thinking of I'm the best in the city, yeah, you're the best in that city. You're best in your class. You're best in the world, depending on the geography you want to play or the space you want to play in. But you know that I'm really good at this, okay? So that is the skill. And what we need to do then is to bring these two together and say, how do I create value for someone else? How do I create value, rupees sign? How do I create value using this passion and my skill for someone else? Because in business, unless you're creating value for someone else, you're not going to get anything in return, right? So how do I create a business model out of it? By providing value to someone else. So the idea is that we need to be here in this space where your passion, skills, you bring it together and provide value to someone else, okay? So let's take Kiran's example, right? So Kiran's passion was, I want to give the right advice. I feel good when I help someone, support someone. So that is his passion. And there'll be so many other passions as well, but that is the passion that he's drawing for his business. What is his skill? I'm very interested in gadgets. I like to learn about stuff, new invention, this, that, and so on. So I'm very inquisitive. So I'm very knowledgeable about those things, right? So it's combining these two and saying that, okay, I'll help people with my knowledge and passion to buy stuff for their home, right? So you got the idea? So this is how you create a arena. So this space, I call it the arena. So this is the arena. Why am I calling it the arena? Because business needs to be designed in such a way that when you play the game, you will naturally win. It's kind of rigged. You're going to rig the game. You're going to create the rules of the game so that you will win naturally. So that is essentially what the whole idea is. Okay. Of course, how do you figure it out? Passion, skills, and the business model, trial and error, experience, and all of that. Or you could get some support, help, get some tools to be able to do that a little faster, right? So that essentially is what I feel is the arena. Now, okay, fine. When you're in this kind of a zone, now Kiran is in the zone, right? So he is enjoying his business. Okay. So when you do this, you'll start enjoying your business. Business will not be a pain for you, right? But what about your team members? Are they also going to enjoy the work? So we need to do something for them also, right? We need to create a space so that they are enjoying the work. So how do we do that? So let me give you a success story and then maybe tell you how to do it, right? And this was happening around the time Anjay was bugging me, so to say, Balaji, share with me. Around the same time, another person, her name is Shweta Shetty, came to me, met me, and she said, demanded, like you did, how do you do it, Balaji? Okay. So I find that your team members act like entrepreneurs, and you seem to be spending all your time in BNI. But whole day grappled with people-related issues. Okay, so what was happening in her business? So she was into websites, even now she is, and she had a team of 30 people. And she had organized her team typically what all of us are used to. She had made departments, sales department, software developers, website developers, system architects, back office, all of that, departments, right? So if there's a customer complaint, the salesperson will complain on the website developer will complain on the architect who has done the platform, CMS platform, and the whole day she's trying to patch up things between them, right? And by the end of the day, she is totally exhausted. So I gave her 3 suggestions, like a doctor, I just told do this, do this, do this, and I thought she won't do it, okay, because they were very drastic suggestions. I'll tell you what the suggestions were. But 3 months later, we were sitting in a group, a lot of entrepreneurs, and she said, Balaji, remember that meeting we had? I've implemented all your suggestions. And today, I've got so much of my time freed up. So what's happening now? Now when there's a customer complaint, the software developer who used to never budge from his laptop, right? He goes, meets the client and sorts out the issue. Okay? And several such examples, like people doing things that they never did before. And the best of all was, they used to get corporate catering to their office. And the team decided, a lot of food is getting wasted. Let's get tiffin boxes from home. We can save some money for the company. And she said, if I had taken a decision like this, all these team members would have said, this company doesn't care about employees, right? And these are the kind of results happening. And so obviously, all of these people who were listening to it, Balaji, what did you share? Tell us also. And I think that is when I said, okay, fine, come. I'll start sharing these things. So first, what are the suggestions? And then certain principles, because the prescription I wrote to her is relevant for her business, right? You can't, depending on your business and so on, it might change. So what I told her was, first thing I told her is, instead of you have your 30 team members, 300 clients, you break them up into 4 or 5 circles, okay? Each circle will have a set of clients and set of team members, and the team should be selected in such a way that they have all the competencies to do the job for the client. Okay, so break up the team structure like that. Then I told her, get rid of all job descriptions and designations. No designations, no job descriptions. Okay? Then I told her, create a P&L account for each of the circles. Because the team members need to know whether they are contributing to the bottom line, how well their work is happening, right? Then I told her that don't have individual incentives, have only team incentives. If at all you want incentives, otherwise not required as such, okay? And the third suggestion was, get out of the office, don't be in the office. Yeah, that's the hardest. And she said that also. So later when she was sharing her testimonial, so she was saying that the first 2 suggestions she implemented, the third one, she was wary of it, but she started implementing much later. But she got those results, okay? And what are those principles? How come? So obviously I thought she would not take me seriously, right? Because this is not how you run organizations. Typically, you have departments, you have designations, job descriptions, and so on. So there are certain fundamental paradigm shifts that happened. What's the paradigm of work? Like Monday morning blues, somebody was mentioning. So typically, work is something that people don't like to do, right? This is the assumption, isn't it? So we design our work around that thought process that people don't like work. Therefore, we need to compel them to do work, or we need to reward them to do work, isn't it? And I'll tell you where this paradigm is coming from. It's coming from the word management itself. Because what does management mean? Management means that I need to physically lift someone up and put them into somewhere else where they don't want to be and get them to do tasks that they don't like to do, right? That's the assumption. And why is this assumption there in management? Because management originated where? It originated in the plantations, in the slave market, in the assembly lines, in the mines. That is where management originated, and none of these places work is a pleasure to do, right? So that's one assumption, okay? So the other assumption is that the organization is like a machine, that somebody in the top has figured out what all has to happen, right? And therefore, in an organization, you have job descriptions, your roles, and so on and so forth. And what we do is, in a machine, what happens? If a part gets spoiled, a nut gets spoiled, what do? We replace the nut with another nut, right? Now, do people come in the same shapes, sizes, motivations, skills, passions, and so on? No. So we can't apply that here with people. And that's the reason people are so unhappy at work, because we are forcing them to be something that they are not. Okay? So there's a different paradigm. The different paradigm is, you think of organizations as living systems, okay? Like a forest, where everybody is doing things because of intrinsic motivators. Okay? So instead of fitting people to tasks, we fit tasks to people. And that's what happens when we did what Shweta did, of no job description, no this thing. Then people start doing things out of their own intrinsic motivators, because something needs to happen. They want to do something rather than they have to do something. So by design, you create an organization where power is with everyone. You're not putting power with some people, right? Everybody is able to take calls. Everybody is able to take decisions, right? So by design. And that's why I say, if you really want to liberate people, if you really want highly engaged people like Shweta's example, you need to have powerless leadership so that you can get powerful results. Back to you, Anjay.
Great. So wasn't that amazing? Shifting our entire paradigm about work, right? So I think this is really, really powerful, Balaji. And
around that. So would you be, because I'm part of a global community, and it wasn't working when you were trying to get, like these little groups. And when we started creating it like a